Hello. So now I am continuing with part three of our Equinox Circle for Nations event presentation. And here we're talking a little bit about Grandfather Commander's key identity factors, kindergarten dropout, and the wisdom that is really reflected in all he tried to teach us. And far from being a kindergarten dropout, just a learned and well read um, researcher and historian, was also a huge peace activist, and there he is holding out a prayer for the landmines treaty negotiations and signing actually in Canada, a prayer for the land, a prayer for the land at the sacred Chaudier site, a prayer for the waters, and then the recipient of an honorary doctorate degree, initially from the University of Ottawa, then from the University of Quebec, Outaouais, and we say then now a researched PhD, but really taking the knowledge and wisdom of the Indigenous voice into multiple streams of sharing. And that really is ultimately the purpose of doing these Facebook Live events and the purpose um, of continuing with the Circle of All Nations work inspired and directed and led by, animated by Grandfather William Commander. And here you'll see now in this presentation the core themes of the work. Uh, and it's about sustainable relationships. So I say we go from the ideological foundations of journey, uh, reflected in the spirit of canoe, kayak. We move to sustainable relations governed by the laws of nature and human animals as guides. We talk about nature, the tectonic abrasion. So we know that not everything is easy in life. It takes a rub to lead to the evolutionary process, which then generates for us focus on the energy of peace and harmony and balance. And the Circle of All Nations is the bridge building mechanism um, designed to accomplish some of that peace building. Uh, and we've talked about how we've moved from the wisdom of the kindergarten dropout to acknowledgement in the academic world, and then to his even greater acknowledgement as an officer of the Order of Canada, and that honor bestowed to people who desire a better country. Just today, I was sent a post that suggested that South Africans will be heading to Canada. That's the destination of choice in the next 20 years, in the next 10 years, actually. And so interesting because earlier today, as you know, we talked to two South Africans uh, about their moves beyond South Africa, one to Norway, the other to Canada. And Jackie and I are doing our best to make Canada the wonderful, welcoming place for future South Africans. Not that we want everybody to leave the motherland, because we know how special that place is too. Um, um, Another part of the ideological foundations of our work is the spiritual trajectory to knowledge. And I like to make a point over here to say that we're not meaning to discuss or take away from anybody's religious beliefs and practices. We really are focusing on one of the energies that we have tended not to give enough time and attention to in our lives under the 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 newer frameworks, you know. But we believe it's important to realize that we have an emotional aspect um, when we shed tears or when we laugh, and also host a whole range of emotions that is now actually contributing to many of our emotional imbalances. We also have a physical body, and we animate it through the senses and through the intuition and through other levels of knowing and being. But we also know that we're concerned about our physical health, We're also quite conscious, as we've just talked about, is our mental capacity and the importance of um, thinking. But we oftentimes forget that there's also a spiritual dimension to life. And it's the force that keeps us spiraling, really, in an integrated fashion. And we feel that as we integrate that spiritual dimension with the emotional, with the physical, and with the mental, so we will contribute to the strengthening, the creativity, the autonomy, and also the uh, the hope, the health, the balance, and yeah. So seeing it quite different from religion, we see it as something to nurture than ourselves, and we oftentimes say it's the art, the creativity, the connection with nature herself that stimulates that dimension. We're moving from digital mapping in 2020 um, with a perspective on the retrospective, looking back at all that Grandfather Commander has taught us, and through the reflections, projecting into the future, navigating into the future. And Jinawe Daganok, Ubuntu, connection with the soil, connection with the earth, and connection with realizing that everything is related, everything is interconnected, leads to the Circle of All Nations Sustainable Relations goal for a culture of peace. And then, moving from those ideological foundations, we move to animative activism, and that began in the 30s and then later in 45, the political world with the uh, animation of the North American Indian Nations government, the voice of indigenous peoples beginning to take their place in the Americas way before the civil rights movement was birthed. In fact, we say it was birthed out of the vision and initial efforts of the indigenous, pointing to a better world, pointing to a world of ideologies that grandfather then animated in his uh, first Circle of All Nations gathering at Eganville in 1967 when Canada was celebrating a 100th birthday. In 1969, he hosted that huge gathering at Kirigan Zibi, um, and over the years took his messages from the national to the global planes, increasingly bringing forward the voice of Mother Earth and what we now talk about as climate change, but really are much larger environmental challenges than just that trajectory of climate change. So, in this process, um, he focused on the sustainable development, contributed to the Agenda 21 of the United Nations, in part through his engagement with the Cry of the Earth conference, with his prayer at the pre-Rio conference in France. He animated this focus with his engagement with others in the Sunbow 5 walk. When the Royal Commission on Aboriginal Peoples released its report in 1996, his question was who would drink the water, drawing again attention to the fact that our human reality is so totally interlinked with uh, nature, the laws of nature, and of course, our survival is entirely dependent on the health and the patterns of Earth. And he tried to share this through non-stop gatherings and outreach through the last 15 years of his life. In 2010, he hosted the 2000 he hosted the Global Eco Peace gathering at Nepean Point and ignited a relationship with people all over the world, inspired to um, create linkages in terms of environment and peace initiatives. Hosted the Water Life workshop in 2006 and animated thereafter the theme of sustainable relations. I developed a vision in 2003 for the sacred Chaudia site for an international gathering place to brainstorm ideas about, again, peace and environment. And and over the last few years, he's been a presence in the academic world, serving as a bridge uh, between different knowledge streams and linking also towards global outreach. He's a carrier of the sacred wampum heritage. He's a birch bark canoe maker of international renown, a political Algonquin leader, founder of the Circle of All Nations, um, Officer of the Order of Canada. The University of Ottawa created the Commander Hall in recognition of his wisdom. He's acknowledged in the Canadian History Hall. And by all of this, I mean to say that William Commanda created and founded place for the Indigenous voice in some of the important institutions in this country. This day's presentation has been inclusive of the work of Farnham Wilayat, Dr. Graciela Janowski, Emmeline Zela, and also our South African presenters, Jackie Minar and Sarifa Mulaniernes. This is actually what we were going to be talking about with Farnham, and I'm going to actually just play this little documentary. 6 water pumps have been built in the villages in Pakistan. Uh, I shall be posting more images of the 6 water pumps on our Facebook page and also on our photo gallery page. And now I'll end by saying that what we're doing in our research and studies about Grandfather Commanda is creating a cybercartographic atlas. Uh, and here we're most grateful to the support of Carleton University, the Geomatics and Cartographic Research Center, and in particular my director uh, and, and supervisor, thesis supervisor, Dr. Fraser Taylor, a renowned cartographer who's created this new um, platform to tell stories on an atlas, to tell stories that incorporate voice, video, photographs, locational elements, such that empowers people to share their perspectives with larger audiences. And it's an innovative platform, and Grandfather Commander could see its potential way back in 2007. And so we're grateful that the work of Dr. Taylor exposed us to thinking about the potential of digital media and digital communications to enhance our efforts. And Facebook, of course, brings a cybernetic motional element to the work, the navigational element. And so, between the two of them, we think we're ideally positioned right now to animate further our notion of the digital global village that Circle of All Nations now is, given the isolation that COVID has imposed upon us, and given the other challenges we've all had to experience over the years. And so I am saying eventually we'll capture some of this information in our renewed website spaces, and we have more information on our work there, and that draws that PowerPoint presentation to the close. I'm most grateful to have had so many interesting people share so much with us today. I am not really sure whether we will have anybody um, on any chat lines right now. And perhaps not, but at any rate, I've wanted to record this segment of our activity today. Um, and I'm wanting now to play for you um, a song shared with us by, a peace song shared with us by Patrice Dauphin, who would probably right now be celebrating his mother's birthday party. And let me see if that is, there we go. I know you want, yeah, this something pull me on. Came to see all this for me, and I could blow the on. Spring my way, fly away, I got to stay. You earn it. The moon is right for you now. Oh. My life will make you tall, like this circle shining. Who's ahead, who's behind? Who's the seed, who's out, and who's the The moon is beautiful. The moon is beautiful here. Wow. Thank you so much for that. That was just absolutely incredible. Thank you. Anybody here on any chat line? And I am now going to try one more thing, which is hopefully be able to share the presentation by Farhan Williat. Oh, it won't be that. Hello? Hello? Hello. Good evening, Farhan. How are you? Here I am calling you from Canada, and there you are in Pakistan, Lahore, far, far away from us. And unexpectedly, we are actually doing a Zoom recording because why? Explain.
Thank you very much for this flexible arrangement for me, because I just recently shared my request with you that I'm having COVID, because recently my test results told me that they have detected COVID virus, and I'm now isolated and have a 15 days of quarantine period. So that was the main reason why I requested you to record my message a bit early from the actual schedule.
Yes, you just discovered this news last night, eh?
Yeah.
And now tell me, what time is it for you there in Lahore?
It is 8:35 p.m.
Okay, so it's already evening.
Yeah.
Yes. So just briefly, my goodness, we've known each other now perhaps a couple of months.
Yeah, almost 2 months.
Almost 2 months. And initially, we were talking about the water hand pumps that you were setting up in so many communities. But
yes,
since then, I've learned about so many other activities that you've engaged with. So I'm going to turn the mic over to you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your work. And
thank you. Thank you. Actually, I'm involved in various charitable and humanitarian and interfaith activities. And actually, the major project is major problem in the desert areas of Pakistan, especially the Cholistan desert and the Tharparkar desert. And the groundwater that people here consume so much is saline to brackish. and have a very high concentration of various salt and minerals, which are very dangerous for human health and livestock health. So only the deeper wells and hand pumps are the only possible solution for that for this problem. So I therefore started working on it, and I established a project of Sindh Water Relief Project for construction of water wells and installation of hand pumps in the village of interior Sindh. And after that, gradually I expanded that those activities to the southern areas of Punjab and Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa provinces of Pakistan. So this is one of my leading humanitarian projects, which are being done through the charities and donations collected from the general public through social media and other sources. And till today, I have, alhamdulillah, completed more than 300 water wells and hand pumps in those desert areas or slum areas. I always very proudly mention a few things. That's Project Management Institute of USA ranked this project among the top three community service projects in 2017 and 18. And Triple Helix Association of Italy also awarded me Sata Innovation Award in 2020, 2000 their South Asia chapter. And I also achieved Gusi Peace Prize, which is equivalent to Asia's Nobel Prize counterpart from Philippines, and Kentucky Kernel Commission from the Honorable Governor of Kentucky State. So the benefits I received from these water relief projects include so many benefits, including the this water problem affects women's life so badly in Tharparkar and Cholistan, because they are responsible to fetch water from long distances from their entire family, and they cannot leave they even cannot leave their household even for social functions, since most of their time is spent fetching water, and they remain unable to entertain their friends, their relations, due to water scarcity. So at times, both the young boys and girls, due to the responsibility of fetching water, besides being a major work for women, fetching water during the dry season